Hey Loki, are you okay?
You okay?
I'm okay. Are you okay?
You okay?
I'm okay. Well, are you okay?
Okay.
I'm okay. Wait, you're okay?
As
Earnestly podcast coming to you on June 26, 2020. This is the second podcast here in actually 24 hours. I'm your host, Earnestly Christian. First, I hope you enjoyed that intro with my son 9. My 3-year-old son. He has this habit, like I said, whenever I say something happens, he goes, "Are you okay?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm okay, but you okay?" Or I'll say, he go, "I'm okay." I ask him, "Is you okay?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm okay, but you okay?" I'm like, and we'll go back and forth. Now, I managed to get a clip of that 2 days ago, and I wanted to share it with you guys. But it's hard to peel back the curtain of the Christian household, if you will. But I hope you guys enjoyed the last episode. I did, like I just said, like literally 22 hours ago with the friend of the pod, Mark Francois. Phenomenal podcast. 2-hour marathon. What I did notice, unfortunately, I'm going to fix this later on today, is the last, I want to say 40 minutes of the episode. The conversation kind of gets like delayed. Like my part gets delayed by 5 seconds. Like, I don't know what happens. I think something in my computer where, like, I guess if it takes the tracking off of the conversation, because I record it over a call recorder, and what happens sometimes is that there's been moments where I've had to straighten the conversation in terms of, like, where it's uneven. And there's something, I don't know if it's a bug in the program or something of that nature, but the last 40 seconds is kind of a little off track by about 5 seconds. So I'm gonna try to fix that tonight. And re-upload the episode properly, which really sucks because there's a lot of great content from last night. Talking about the election, talking about a lot of things. But go listen to it, of course, you get a chance to. At least the first hour and a half is phenomenal, and hopefully I'll have that done tonight as well. So solo pod today. I'm gonna probably go about 20-30 minutes here. Lots going on. Lots in the world. We got another spike of the COVID-19 here in Florida, especially. A couple states as well, too. Texas, I think Arizona's another other state, but Florida, where I'm at. Biggest spike, 8,000 new cases that came out today. It's 8,000 plus cases, I'd say. The governor officially said yesterday that there'll be no more phases for the time being. We were actually in the process of going to phase 2. We were phase 2 actually here in Florida, in North Florida, and the thought was obviously as long as the numbers stayed relatively low, of course the flattening continues, all that that jazz, that we would be at phase 2 in South Florida, which is a lot more dense crowd density and whatnot. Unfortunately, that isn't the case. We have more cases, 8,000 new cases. Biggest spike since it started. It's very sad, obviously. They just announced today they shut the bars down. The bars can't serve alcohol. Restaurants can, but not bars. And it's sad because like all this is political now. It goes back to, you don't make it political, but yet it's almost impossible not to. The governor DeSantis, who I actually do like, but he was he got a little cocky back in late May when we decided to reopen, and he was like saying the media was driving a narrative and all that. And look, he's not necessarily wrong with the media having agendas, but again, it was better to not say anything, get too cocky about it, because this is a long process, and now we have a lot more cases. Is it his fault? The thing is, I don't fault him for reopening, to be honest with you, because, again, at some point we have to get back to normal to some degree. The key of the lockdown was to avoid overrunning the healthcare system, avoid overrunning hospitals, all that. I totally, I thought, this is not a very popular opinion here, especially my family. A lot of my family, also a lot of Democrats, but whatever. That, again, I'm trying to make it political, but that a lot of it is rooted in the political jargon. I thought the way he handled it originally, of keeping only essential businesses open, was the right way to go. It is impossible to expect people to stay in the home for 2 weeks. Impossible. And you're not accounting for. Again, I had to say this one more time because I said this on the podcast back in April, back in May. It doesn't account for child abuse, domestic abuse, suicides, mental health, all that. It is not healthy to be stuck in a home and not go outside for weeks on end. It's just not healthy. Now, part of my ire with this whole situation is the fact that we were unprepared. Why were we unprepared? Obviously, because of our current administration deciding to not prioritize, lessening the load, if you will, defunding, pandemic, preventing, measures, and because we're behind the ball on that, now we're here. So I'm not going to sit there and blame the governor or blame the leadership, but I will blame the leadership for not having this country as a whole prepared, and obviously we're now reaping, and we're now reaping the worst end of this now, all these spikes. I'm concerned too because I'm back to work now. I've been back to work for a little over a month now. Working a lot, but I'm grateful I have a job anyway. But I'm concerned that now if this continues to get worse, that, they may shut us down again. And, obviously I don't want that, we got bills to pay. And obviously you have to go back to unemployment and all that, and which is, whatever, but I really don't want to do that. You saw how much of a disaster that was the first time. I got through that eventually, and I've gotten all my payments since then. Thank God for that. But it was a pain in the ass, But I don't know. It's something we're going to watch this in the weeks to come. It's just a bad time right now. But we gotta hopefully we get back to normalcy again at some point. But yeah, this spike has definitely put a little wrench in the plans, if you will. Speaking of politics, if you want to call that. Now, we discussed a little bit last time on the podcast about what the polls are showing currently in June. Now, obviously, we got a long way to go. We still got July, August, September, October. You got 3 debates. I mean, for crying out loud, Joe Biden hasn't even announced his running mate for vice president. But Joe Biden is leading polls, all the polls, and in fact, he's not only is he leading the polls, he's leading big in the national polls. He's in double right now. He's up 10 points in the last national poll that was released by Real Clear Politics, and I follow this stuff pretty closely. Even the more conservative polls have Biden ahead by at least 5 or 6 points. Fox News had Biden up in some of the major battleground states like Florida, like Texas, which apparently now is a battleground state because Texas has been red for the last 30-something years, 40 years, and now it's in play. And I think the key here is this, and I went over this with Mark last night to some degree. The reason why if you are a Joe Biden supporter, you should be encouraged here. I risk I'm going to vote for Biden because I just think the chaos of Trump is too much. Okay, I'm not necessarily a big Joe Biden guy. He would have been my first choice. Personally, I'd rather would have had Andrew Yang be the nominee because he actually brings ideas to the table. But we are where we are now at this point. The reason I would say be encouraged if you were a Biden supporter is this: the states, first off, for starters, that typically go red, like Georgia, like Arizona, for example, Texas, are now not only in play. Based on the recent polling, Biden is actually leading those states too. And we said this on the podcast a couple months ago at Mark. If Joe Biden wins Arizona, that's a big key because Barack Obama got crushed in Arizona both times in 08 and 12. He still won the election, but he lost Arizona pretty big. 2016, Hillary Clinton was actually competitive in Arizona. Lost by what 3.2%. And obviously, because John McCain, rest his soul, passed away a couple years ago. Still very popular in Arizona, former senator who passed away. Him and Trump were at it. Obviously, there's no love lost there. There's a lot of people who may be moderate to conservative, but don't like Donald Trump because of what he did to John McCain. And that might be another factor, too, why Biden's leading in Arizona. Look, long way to go. Wisconsin, big numbers for Biden right now in the polling. He's up by nearly 10 points as well, too. A state that Trump won. One of the, Rust Belt, states that he won, that Hillary, neglected, that Trump won by only 42,000 votes, physical votes, should I say. A lot of states are in play. The biggest surprise here is in Florida, of course. And it's weird, but Biden's up. Fox News had Biden up by 9 points in Florida. Other states had him up by 8 points in Florida. The fact that he's up that big in Florida is a big deal because Florida, no matter who wins, Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter. Whether it's Bush, Obama, Clinton. Well, I think Clinton was the anomaly back in '96, but whether it was Bush, Obama, Trump, typically, the winner of the state of Florida wins by only 2% margin, maybe 3%, but it's always within the state. It's always within the margin. So there's always a battleground. Florida is the battleground of battlegrounds, and the fact that Joe Biden is not only leading in the polls in Florida, the fact he's like not even close to the margin of error right now in Florida in June, of course. Now it's only June. If you're a Joe Biden guy, if you're anti-Trump, you should be very encouraged right now. That's very good news for Joe Biden. Again, a lot of time ahead to make some gaffes, but this is where we're at now, and all the polling shows Biden up and up pretty big. And with everything going on in the country, with COVID, the protests, everything going on. I mean, Donald Trump has a lot of chaos around him. Right now he can't even use the economy as a crutch. I'm stunned. Look, a part of me still thinks Trump's going to win this election because, again, you're still depending on moderates and the never Trumpers to come. Not never Trumpers, the moderates, or even some of the progressives who don't like Joe Biden to come out and support. I'm still skeptical, but I don't know. Is the distaste for Trump that much now in June of 2020 that by November that it gets to a crescendo and they come out and just vote for Joe Biden? We will see moving forward, but it's definitely something to look at right now. But right now, if the polling is what it is now and it's really reflective of what's going to happen in November, we're going to have a new president in November. January, should I say. Anyway, so what I've been watching recently, I started watching the Undertaker, The Last Ride documentary last week. I am not done yet. I'm now on episode 4. It's a 5-parter. Undertaker actually announced his retirement on the documentary. Spoiler alert, sorry. On the documentary, but it's the news. This is already out there on social media. If you haven't watched it already, it's what it is. I have never really been the biggest Undertaker fan on the planet, albeit I did like Taker back in when he first came. The first couple of character changes he did, from 1990 to 1998, 99. Even the Satanic Undertaker 99 during the Attitude Era was actually pretty cool. And then I kind of sort of like cooled off on him after the whole the era of the biker Taker, All American badass Undertaker. Rolling. He coming down the aisle coming down with his motorcycle with the Limp Bizkit song back in 2001. Didn't like it. And then by then I checked out. I stopped watching wrestling too, as you guys know. And I'm not saying I never like Undertaker, the wrestler, and respected Undertaker the wrestler. I've always respected it, but he was never somebody I really like. Oh my God, I'm gonna watch it because of him. And that definitely ended for me after I stopped watching. But this documentary really shone a light, and it really got me to respect him. I gained a new respect for not just Undertaker the character, but Mark Calloway the person. This guy is very loyal. I mean, this guy had a chance to leave the company when it was in the shitter in the 90s. He opted to stick it out with Vince McMahon. Seeing the relationship between him and Vince, especially, his relationship with Vince, honestly, makes Vince McMahon more likable. I mean, but Vince McMahon's not a very likable character, either in real life or on screen. And yet, because of the respect, Undertaker carries, and the respect has a lot of weight across the entire company, across the entire pro wrestling landscape, both in and out the ring. it makes Vince much more likable. You know, this is the same guy that said he would take a bull for him. These guys are tight, you know. It was nice getting behind the curtain a bit to see Mark Calloway as not just as the Taker, but as a private man. He's always been very private. He's pretty private, you know. It was nice to see that. And I really enjoyed it. I'm 3 episodes in. I love seeing the intersect between him and Shawn Michaels, HBK, and Triple H. Because those guys were there through the wars in the 90s when the WWE, back then WWF, was struggling to find its footing again after Hogan left and Savage left and all that stuff, and they were adjusting between Hulkamania and the Attitude Era. You know, those guys were pretty much the core of the company. You know, I said Bret Hart too, to be honest with you, was there at the time, but he left also in '97, mainly because he was forced out. But my point is, those three guys were pretty much the core. It had been the core of the company for well over 30 something years. 20 years at least, 20 plus years. And to see when they did the 4 years between the two Shawn matches at WrestleMania 25, 26, and Triple H the next 2 years preceding that, and whatnot. It was really cool. And by the way, that era I didn't watch. So for me to watch that too, it kind of felt fresh to me. Look, I thought he should have retired years ago, but I'm glad he did his own terms. Now, that doesn't mean that you may not see him again. I mean, he is such a Vince guy that if Vince calls next year or in 2 years and Taker's in shape, and he asks Taker to come in and do one more show or do an appearance, whatever. You know at the very least, Mark Calloway is gonna definitely heavily consider it, without question. So, cool thing too, also the show. Now obviously a lot. His last match he had was the cinematic feature at WrestleMania back in April. Obviously, they had to go that way because of the pandemic, and Mania being at the Performance Center. So that was obviously the case. And if you remember watching the match, Undertaker came out and, to music. It was Metallica, Now That We're Dead, the song from the last album, Hardwired Self-Destruct. Metallica, as you know, my favorite band in the whole entire world. And so he came and left with both songs. So I was impressed. Obviously, it was a great feature, number one, but me being a fanboy of Metallica I am, seeing him enter and leave with that song, which was one of my two favorite songs on the album, too, in fact, was really, really cool. I loved it. So that also gave me respect to Metallica for Undertaker, rather. And then there's also a part in episode 2 of the documentary where he's like working out. They send him a ring down south to get him ready for WrestleMania. I think it was 33 or 34. His match against Cena. I think it was 34 actually. Back in 2018, and he's working out, in the ring and trying to get in shape. And if you listen to the background, he's playing Metallica again in the background, but he's playing "And Justice for All," the entire album. And the only guys that know me, I was, as I said, Metallica fan, of course, but "Justice for All" is my favorite album of Metallica, by far. So hearing that in the background was amazing. So again, fanboy, yes, but he's a huge Metallica fan, so that's awesome. So yeah, like I said, I enjoyed it. It was great. I'm gonna finish the last 2 episodes this weekend and go from there. So again, Taker, congrats. Thank you for 30 years of greatness, and and we were discussing on the wrestling podcast too last week about Undertaker is his legacy the greatest of all time, and honestly, I have to say yes, because based on the impact, and even though he should have retired years ago, he still makes it. When he comes back to the company, it always feels like it matters. He makes it matter. Every match matters. So you have to give him that. The streak, obviously, too, which I thought the streak was overrated, but whatever. We can argue that down the road, but just the impact. His matches matter. Even though he was part-time, he still made it matter, and that's all that matters at this point now in this part of his career, and that's great. So again, hashtag thank you Taker, of course. Other wrestling news of the week. Sammy Guevara from AEW was suspended this week due to comments that were leaked from a podcast he did back in 2016. Comments basically comments he made about Sasha Banks, WWE Sasha Banks, an old podcast back in 2016, basically saying that he wanted to rape her. I hate saying it, but that's what he said. He was suspended without pay, indefinitely. I suspect to be back at AEW in the next couple of weeks. I think AEW, Tony Khan made the right move to suspend him, not fire him. A lot of people were saying just to fire him, and I was on social media on Tuesday when the story dropped and saying that we can't continue firing people like that just because of old comments that happened 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago, unless it's something really, 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 really offensive, or or there was a crime committed. He's not going to learn unless the only way he's going to learn is to go through the process. They made the right move suspending him, not firing him. Not talented social media. I mean, come on, social media is 50% reality, 50% fake fiction. They were unglued, and I'm glad rational took over illogical. I'm glad rational won over illogical. Sam was apologetic. We have to take him at his word. I mean, he called Sasha. Sasha even accepted his apology and all that. They both released statements. It was good. And besides, how else will you learn? I mean, you heard him, by him not getting paid, obviously it's a big deal. Look, wrestlers are not all wrestlers anyway, are millionaires. I don't think Sammy Guevara is a millionaire. So, obviously he learned his lesson here. I'm assuming he learned his lesson here, of course. And it shines a light again on cancel culture. I hate cancel culture. I'm not saying you don't cancel people, but don't tell me what I need to do. You make the decision to cancel somebody. That's up to you. But the culture of it all is disgusting, in my opinion. Sorry, I don't like it. It's very uncomfortable living in a time where people are willing to go 5 years into your social media and find dirt to just play gotcha or get you. It's disgusting. I'm sick of it now, honestly. And the Me Too movement. It had its moments, and it's still positive for the most part. You obviously, if there are crimes committed or not, whatnot, you want to listen, but we also don't want to be illogical. We also want to follow the facts. Trust but verify. I still stick to those 3 words heavily. I don't care. It's just that simple. Let me see here. Joel Shumacher, director, passed away this week at the age of 80. Joel Shumacher was the director of Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, as well as Animals Fire. It's 3 movies I really do like, although those 2 Batmans, I love Batman Forever, mostly because I love Nicole Kidman. She's in there. Val Kilmer was a decent Batman. I'll give him that. Batman and Robin was a little bit of a mess. Uma Thurman was amazing, though, in the movie. I'll give her that. Joel Shumacher was the more colorful director of the series. The first 2 was directed by Tim Burton, a lot darker, and you notice Joel Shumacher came in there, and it's a lot more colorful, than the other ones. So, age 80, passed away. He's one of the well-known directors. Really, really good what he did. You have to give him credit for that, obviously. Very sad news, of course, about that. And what else I want to tell before I go? Yes. I started listening to a podcast. I mentioned last week on the pod, the last solo pod did, that I started, I watched an interview with, Charlie Sykes, who's a conservative, commentator. He did an interview with, who was it? It was David Axelrod, who was Barack Obama's former campaign manager. Or someone involved in his campaign. Someone important, should I say. He was a campaign manager. I explained to you that he's a conservative, but he's a conservative never-Trumper that, for all purposes that he said, is no longer a part of the Republican Party. And I found his stuff pretty interesting. He was good enough for me to check out his work. He started his own podcast network, his own distribution, media platform called the Bulwark. He was on radio, and then he left the radio station a year before his contract was ended because a lot of the people who were calling his radio station were pretty big Trump supporters, and they didn't like him not supporting Trump and all that. And he's more a principled conservative, which I like. And it's funny. Like I talk about politics on this podcast, a little bit, and I believe in listening to balanced material. Like, I'm a moderate. I am a, social conservative, fiscal conservative and social liberal. I believe listening to balanced material. I listen to both sides of the aisle, but I listen to the right guys. I don't go into the rabbit hole of these extremists. I listen to Charlie Sykes on the conservative side. I listen to Charlie Sykes. Listen to John Ziegler. Listen to Eric Erickson of the Resurgent. Those are conservative voices I really respect. Ben Shapiro, sometimes when he starts trolling the libs, it could be good to listen at times. He can be a little annoying at times, but I think I respect his perspective. I don't agree a lot of what he says, but some things he does say, I do agree with too. And then on the liberal side, I listen to the Pots America guys. I listen to obviously Bill Maher when he's not being an asshole. John Oliver, obviously. There's guys out there I do like on that side as well too. I listen to both sides and get for perspective, of course. I think it's important to hear people, even if you don't agree with them, to at least listen. That's why I get mad when liberal platformers don't have conservatives on the show. I like Bill Maher's show mainly for the guests, and I love the fact that he brings in conservatives or moderates, because he's a liberal. He's a diehard liberal, but he's a liberal that is willing to listen. You know what I'm saying? And I respect that. I've been critical a lot of times of liberals for not opening opening the door for conversation. I'm big on conversation, man. I think it's important. I think dialogue is a lost art now, especially people want to talk and yell but not listen. And I think we need to get back to the art of listening. I like having them on my show. I like having liberals on my show. I like conservatives on my show. I like freedom of. I like thought. I like rule of thought. I love freedom of thought. I love people discussion. I'm not saying I agree with you, but at least I can hear you. You know what I mean? So, yeah, his show's pretty good. Again, he's one of those podcasts where I'll listen to. It's 5 days a week. I listen to it depending on the guest that's on there. And if it's a guest I like, interesting, I'll listen to it, of course. One more thing before I go. So, I finally subscribed to HBO Max amid all the confusion. I ended up finding HBO Max through my Hulu. This is important because HBO Max right now is not available through Roku or Amazon. And I have Roku. HBO is actually phasing out HBO Go. And, I'm assuming that we will have deals in place for Roku and Amazon in the coming months, of course. HBO Max has the big library, they have Friends and all those other TV shows. They have other networks, like Cartoon Network and a couple other things that they have at their disposal. So, I want to get all access to that. Unfortunately for me right now, the only way I can get the entire HBO Max, the entire library is through mobile. Now what I did, I found out, thank God, because when I got through Hulu on Monday or Tuesday, it was HBO Max, which I got, but you couldn't get the entire library. So I'm wondering if it's because they're still phasing out the old stuff and bringing in new. So, but I was able to actually on my mobile, attach, because I was scared if I had to get a hold of HBO Max on my mobile, I had to pay an extra $15 a month, which is not the case. All you had to do was log into HBO Max on the mobile, attach your Hulu login information to the mobile, and you'll be fine to get the access through at least to the mobile. But yeah, waiting hopefully for the library to be available at some point on the Hulu platform. My wife and I, we do watch HBO weekly to at least watch John Oliver and Bill Maher every week. But there's a lot of shows on there we gotta catch up on as well too. So, but confusing too because like I said, they're going to be phasing out HBO Go in the coming weeks. I think in July they'll be done, and hopefully by then every platform will have the opportunity to have HBO Max. And hopefully by that time we'll have the entire access to the library, so to watch Friends and all these other shows on there. That my wife wants to watch especially too. So, there's that. So, anyway, that will do it for today. That's about 30 minutes into the podcast for June 26, 2020. My wife's still out. I'm celebrating one of her friend's birthday. So, again, I'm on Twitter at EJChristian7. Of course, EarnestChristian.com is the site. And also, don't forget, if you have YouTube, add me on YouTube, Earnest Christian on YouTube. We'll load up the shows in there as well too. But we also take clips from these episodes too and put it on there as well. So hope you enjoy that as well too. If you like wrestling, of course, check out the Take the Wrestling podcast. We do every Sunday night, release on Monday morning. 3 takes from me, my buddies Joe and Mike, and we go from there. So until then, love you guys. Stay safe, especially even in the markets like me that have major surges. All right, love you guys. Take care. Godspeed, and see ya.